What's cooking? You are very welcome to What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. My name is Apioko Seyiram Ashong Abe. You can call me Apioko. That works for me. Don't forget that this show is sponsored by Tasty Tom, Ufakakra, Na Yebebre, and we've got Fortune Rice and Mopa as well. And we want to thank them very much for keeping the fire burning behind us so that we can keep the fire burning in this kitchen. And of course, you, yes, you deserve a life of goodness. That's what Frital tells us, and we're very happy to have them as sponsors of the show as well. Now today, it gets interesting in the kitchen. One of my favorite people will be joining me here, and he's making something very special. So we've got some mincemeat here, some onions, some Himalayan pink salt, some apples, some potatoes. What's he going to make? He's going to make some beef patties with onions and potatoes and a brown sauce as well, and then a fresh side salad of apples and peas. And this is a Danish dish, so I'm giving you a bit of a hint. He is from Denmark, and his name is Tom, and I like to call him the real Tasty Tom because, yeah, he's going to make something tasty, and he likes to pretend he's not a chef, but we really think he's a chef at night when nobody is looking. All right, so his name is Tom. That's another clue. But let's go for a break, and when we return, I will introduce my very special guest, and we will get cooking. Welcome back. This is still What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. My name is Apioko. Now it's time for me to introduce my guest, and of course it's time for us to get cooking. All right, are you ready? I did say earlier, in case you're just joining us, that he's the real Tasty Tom. And yes, his name is Tom. And his name is Tom Noring. That's his full name. And his, should I add his title now? His Excellency Tom Noring. So let me invite him, and then I'll tell you who he is. Welcome.
Mange tak. Thank you very much.
Did I get it right?
You got it perfect.
Yes. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And we know you're quite the chef, even though you won't admit it. But it's great to see your chefry skills at play here today.
I think you're slightly exaggerating.
No! We've been told, I have heard from very, very potent sources that you are a brilliant cook.
We've talked about it. You have to fact check things. That's what you journalists have to do.
We have to fact check. But I did fact check.
Okay.
From the birdies in the trees.
That's good. We'll see how it goes.
You're welcome once again. Now we're making, beef patties. Some people would call them hamburgers in certain parts of the world, right?
Yes.
But how would you call this in your language?
In this case, it's the actual patties we'd call hakkebøf.
Hakkebøf, okay.
And then we'll make it with onions. So there will be cooked onions, soft onions. So hakkebøf med bløde løg.
Hakkebøf med bløde
løg. Løg is onions. Yes.
Med bløde løg. Interesting. Oh, your language is very
so that's it.
Okay.
It's very basic. It's when I was asked to do this, I said let's do something that's Danish traditional.
Danish traditional. And so this is very traditional.
So this would be very traditional. There's also a small dessert afterwards. Also very simple, very quick. Because it also has to be quite simple to do it here. And I don't want to mess it up totally in front of the cameras. So although there's no guarantees.
So is this a meal that
this is a family,
Danish, okay.
Yeah, this would be a family dinner, regular Wednesday evening dinner. Yeah. The family gets together and you would serve that with a hearty sauce. It's quite heavy. It's based on cream. And there's in the meat there's a bit of fat.
Okay.
As probably today we don't need it that fat.
Yeah.
But in the traditional kitchen we did in the old days, because people were working in the field. They were doing a lot of physical work. So our diet, everything else equal, would be more heavy.
So lots of fat, lots of carbs.
Starch, carbs, exactly. You needed that because you burn it off.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of an issue today with all of us sitting on a chair and doing nothing except if we work out in a fitness studio. So diets have changed.
Yeah.
So this goes with the, let's say, the old time There's a little side salad I'm going to do with it, just apples and peas. It's so simple
Apples and
that
peas.
children first grade can do it.
Apples and peas.
And it's pretty fresh. At least that is healthy.
Absolutely.
I also brought soy sauce
I can see
just to
that.
put it in here, but it's not. I'm not going to make a Chinese deal out of it or a meal out of it.
Alrighty.
So that's how it's going to work.
Okay, so let's get started.
Okay.
Apron for you.
Okay, I can wear it. I don't usually do it, but it's probably good since I go back to the office afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then something for your hair. Yeah, because
No,
you've got
thank you.
quite a bit of hair.
No, thank you.
No?
Can't do that.
You can't cover your hair?
No.
All right.
That would ruin the whole thing. You know. Here we go.
Let me tie it
Are
for
we
you.
doing okay? Yeah, we're doing
Yes,
okay.
are you fine?
I think so.
Okay. You're good? All right.
Yep. And you got one too.
Yes, I have mine.
Okay, yours
as
is better
well.
than mine. Yours is more colorful.
Well, I've got all the African
you
prints.
had the first choice. That's okay.
So let's get started. Where do we begin with
Okay,
this?
well, in order to actually hit, let's say, at the same time with the different products, I think we need to do the potatoes first.
Okay, so we need
And
to peel them.
that's a lot of work, I know. I don't know how you peel potatoes here. I do have my own peeler, but
Oh, you brought your peeler.
I bought my own, but
You did.
I know you can just do it with a regular knife,
Well,
right?
the peeler is easier, to be honest. What are some of the other Danish meals?
Well, as I said
the very popular
before,
ones.
pork is a very big ingredient in the Danish cuisine, the traditional Danish cuisine. So we would use a lot of pork sausages in different ways. The simple one would be the American one almost, the putting, a sausage into a little bun and call it a hot
A
dog,
hot
right?
dog, right.
And we all ask, where does the dog come from? But I think that's something that came from
The
China.
Americans are going to come for you.
That came from China. Yeah. They put dogs in. No, they eat dogs in China,
Yes.
Yes.
And even in parts of Ghana,
I heard, but I
yes,
still
the
haven't.
upper parts,
I
yes.
still haven't seen it, or at least I didn't know that I
it's
saw
it's
it.
a thing, yes.
Yeah.
In
That
certain
would
parts.
be really a shocker in Denmark. If I served a real dog or cat in Denmark, I would be in trouble. That would be a no-go.
Yeah.
People would not understand it. They're seen as pets,
As pets.
and that means your close friend, sometimes the pet,
What about
is
rabbits?
a lot more loyal than your kids or your husband or wife. So you do not eat your dog.
I'm not going to dwell on that statement, but I
Right.
suppose you're right. Yeah. What about rabbits?
I can tell you, what happens if you take your dog, put it in the trunk of your car and forget it there for 5 hours.
Oh no.
Then you come back to the trunk, you open it, and the dog jumps out, and it licks you, and it's so happy to see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
What would happen if I put my wife in the trunk for 5 hours?
Probably get a slap.
I would be a dead man after that. Yep. So you see who's loyal. So
So I'm going to segue a bit. I mean, how did you get into diplomacy?
oh, now we talk shop, not chop here. Yeah. How did I get into diplomacy?
Because you've been doing
Yeah.
it for decades.
I've done it all my life almost. Yeah. I actually started way back thinking about it, or not thinking about it. The thought was born when I was 9 years old.
9 years
I
old.
traveled with my parents. My father got a job in the US, and we stayed in the US. And I loved being away. Experiencing something else, something new. So it is something that really came in almost with the blood.
Right.
So after that, I decided that after high school, I wanted to study abroad.
Okay.
Went back to the US and studied in the US. I think there, to be more honest, the idea of working abroad or with foreign policy or something along those lines was born.
Yeah.
And so when I finished my education, I became a lawyer. I decided not to practice law, but actually to go into diplomacy, and I got
That
into
is very
diplomacy in
interesting.
1987.
That's very okay. So why did you decide not to practice law?
This is where I can hurt a lot of people, because They will say law is the most important thing in the world, right?
Many people do think
Yeah.
that.
So I found law extremely boring to study.
Oh, well, I like how you're
So-
whispering it.
So you have to
The
work,
lawyers will
you know.
not be happy with
No.
you.
The lawyers will not be happy, no, but I'm pretty content with where I am. So I started, now I threw away the piece of paper, that's okay. But I have to cook these onions. First I'll cook them in butter,
Okay.
then I'll soften them up in water, and then that's gonna be done first. And then
Okay.
I'll do the hamburger, and then while that is cooking, I'll just cut up the apples, or maybe
Okay.
I'll even have you do that.
I'm peeling the last potato.
See, you're so good, you're so fast.
Okay, so potatoes are done. How did I do?
Well, you did excellent, and
Well,
I'm so
thank
happy you did it
you.
because one of the things I really hate is
Can you say that to me in your language?
du gjorde det fantastisk.
And what would I say?
You say very easy medasse. Or tak in Danish. But I do need to get these away because
Okay.
before
So these go in here.
these just go in there. and
Straight
then-
into the water.
Well, actually, we can get the water to boil first.
Okay, so we should boil it.
Let it boil first, and then when it's boiling, we'll put it in. Then it's easier to time.
Alrighty.
That works.
Okay. Yes, the water is on fire.
Okay.
Let me get the butter.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you know this is Ghana, right? So
Yes.
the butter needed to be in the freezer or in the fridge, so
Because
that you
else
know,
it
otherwise
would-
just
It
spilling
would
all
be
over the place
impossible.
by
It would be
now.
melting already.
You know how
It has
is.
to melt on the pan and not while
on
you're
the plate,
having it brought in.
right?
Okay,
so
so
the
can
water
I
is
even
on
can I even
fire.
cut it now?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
It's gonna work.
All right.
Yeah,
Here we
it's gonna
go.
work.
Okay.
So, and
So pan is here. Should I put the fire on the pan?
actually, yes. If you just
Okey-dokey.
because you know which button to press.
There we
That
go.
one is working.
Yes, it is.
Good. Then I will do like this.
Okay. How much butter do we use for this?
I use about, how would I measure it, but 20 grams to 50 grams.
Okay.
There may be a little more there, but it doesn't matter.
All right.
It also depends on how many onions you have.
Absolutely.
So, and how fat you like it.
Makes
basically-
sense. Makes
basically.
sense. Makes sense.
So we're gonna have the butter just go golden.
okay.
Then I'll put in the onions, and then we're good to go, I think.
Okay. Which one?
And then I'm gonna take just the onions here, so
Okay.
let me just use my fingers.
Alrighty.
It's easier that way. How did I have time, traveling and everything, to even think about a family, get a family? Well, I was fortunate, I guess, since I had already established a family, or the core, the necessary first part of the family, before I went abroad for the first time. I met my wife back in the 80s. We got married in 1988. And our first posting abroad, and I say ours because that was a joint decision, we wouldn't be, either we wouldn't be together or I would have to find another job. But so we agreed that we were going to do this, embark on this journey. And we went abroad in 1990, and at that time, just 3 weeks before we left for Washington, D.C., which was my first posting as first secretary there, we had our first baby. Wow. Had the second baby while we were in the U.S. That meant we could come back with 2 little kids and start, a little bit of life in Denmark before we went on to Brussels in 96. And there they started school and stuff like that. So, you see, it was possible, it was manageable. Right. Of course, now, different story. Now my kids are grown up. I don't have the same wife anymore because my wife, the mother of my children, unfortunately died during my first posting as ambassador.
Sorry to hear that.
Back in 2009.
So sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you. But life, as you say, goes on, and I was in Greece. I met a wonderful lady after my wife died, and we're now a couple, and she has had to learn as an adult with a life of her own beforehand to get into this travel and diplomacy and all that. It is possible, but I will also say that diplomacy is a challenge. It is a big challenge for many, many people and many families. It puts a strain on the couple. Then modern times, we split up a lot. One stays at home with their career, the other one goes abroad. You meet on vacations and that's it. But that's a different kind of life.
Yeah.
And that puts a strain on many relationships.
Any kind of long distance
Yes.
relationship
Yeah.
is strenuous.
And children also, it's the difference between a stable life in your own environment and then jumping every 3-4 years to a new place. New friends, new culture, new language. Yeah, there is a lot of, there are a lot of challenges. And we see, to be quite frank, I'm sure other countries will say the same. There's a lot more divorces in diplomacy than the average. And there are a lot of kids that get a head start in many ways. Several languages and experiences. But there's also a lot of kids that suffer.
Yeah.
So
Identity
it's not
crisis.
a lot of that.
You know.
So we see that. I think I've been lucky in the sense that both my kids have managed, are doing well. So now they're both grown up, have their own careers, own lives, but they're doing well. So that's the lucky part. Or maybe it takes a lot of effort also as a family.
Of course, of course. No, but
So-
thank you for being.
Now this is boiling,
Yes,
right?
it is boiling, so you can put the potatoes
So that
in
means
there.
I'll put the potatoes in. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. You're the chef.
Whoa.
We do what you say we do.
And when I look at my Ghanaian chef here cook at the house, she wouldn't mind putting her fingers in boiling water.
yeah.
Me, I'm like just something that hits me and I get totally worried. Is that a dirty word? I think you can play with the meat without being.
Yes, we
doing something
can.
wrong.
We can
Yes.
play with the meat.
Thank you. So we'll just get it out of the plastic. Again, something that
Can I just say
wish
though that the onions smell delicious?
they smell good, don't
You
they?
know, the butter, the onions, so delicious.
And here, of course, we have what we always have when we come back from the supermarket or whatever. Plastic, plastic, plastic.
Yes.
This is the modern
Yes.
world. I wish we didn't have
Yes.
it. We'll have to find a way. That's another talk.
So yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
maybe we can talk a little bit about
I'm gonna
how you're doing it in
Yes.
Denmark.
I'm going to have a little problem here. But that's what happens in the real world, that actually the inner core of this is still frozen. But we'll live with that because there's enough here.
Okay.
I will make 4 patties out of this.
Okay.
Just throw
So
it
you just sort of knead it.
Yeah, it's just that's more or less to get the size,
Okay.
right?
So
I
it
know.
shouldn't be too big.
No, I have to say that after having been in Ghana for 4 years, this is not a meal for
No.
a family
No,
in
it's
Ghana.
not.
This is a meal for a small boy. I know,
That sounds about right.
yeah, but we don't eat that big portions.
Yeah. But do you have several meals across
But we
the
have
day?
several meals.
Okay.
We,
so that would explain it.
normal Danish family will have, a normal Danish person will have breakfast, lunch in the middle of the day around 12, 1 o'clock, and then again dinner around, traditionally in the old days, it would be around 5, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Now we're getting more and more Southern European, Mediterranean,
A little
so
later.
it's more like 7, 8 o'clock.
And then in between, what's the snacking like?
No, we try to avoid snacking. Not everybody is perfect, right?
No.
And then we just do like you would do even if you were making an American hamburger.
Okay, I like that.
So just put them together.
Okay.
This is both to form them, but also to make sure that the meat stays together when it gets on the pan.
Okay. It's interesting.
Because if you don't do that, it'll fall apart.
Yeah.
And then you make...
We don't have a patty anymore.
No, then
We
I
have a
think
bolognese
then I think
sauce.
you make a bolognese. Then we'll use your tasty Tom and make a
And make it-
bolognese.
and or make a nice Ghanaian beef stew.
Yes. So, or you can do that, a beef stew with minced meat.
Yes. I'm going to let us
Yep.
take a break because we've done quite a bit. So let's go for a break. All right. And when we return, we continue with our patties. Our potatoes are boiling nicely. I'm sure we'd have, maybe got to the point where they're cooked, and then we get on with our brown sauce as well. This is What's Cooking with His Excellency Tom Noring. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. My name is Apioko. Remember, we're sponsored by Frital. You deserve a life of goodness. Fortune Rice and Mopa, and of course, Tasty Tom. Ufakakra, na ye bebre. And Tasty Tom is in the kitchen today. I can't say it enough. I can't get enough of that. Our dear friend, His Excellency Tom Noring, he is the ambassador of Denmark to Ghana, and he's really cooking up a storm here. I mean, he brought his A game. He's planning to do a dessert and everything. So you've done quite a bit.
We've done some.
Okay, yeah, but quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not
but
done
now we
too
need
badly.
to move on because things are actually cooking here.
So we're basically just straining the onions.
We're straining the onions because I need to dry them out first a little bit, but I also need we'll stop this for a while.
Okay.
Because I need the
You need the
butter and juice from the onions
Okay.
to put in the sauce in a little while.
Okay.
So I'm just pressing this out, and then I will put it somewhere. Will we dirty the whole table if I put it out there?
Yeah, we probably will.
Will that be okay?
Yeah,
Or
it's
do you have
fine.
a plate?
It's fine. We can.
Okay, we'll just put it
Okay,
right
so
there.
just put it right here.
This I'm going to need in a little while
Okay.
to make the sauce, so I'll put it here.
Okay.
Then I'm going to need to prepare the little teeny weeny salad and the dessert.
Okay.
So this is the teeny weeny salad. What I want you to do is to take a knife, cut this in boats, take out the core,
Okay.
and then afterwards cut it in small cubes.
Okay.
These two, and then we probably need
So
a
just
bowl.
two of them.
Two,
Just
I think,
two.
is enough. Yes, and then we need a bowl to put it in.
Apples and peas.
Put the peas on at the end, but that's when you made them into cubes.
Okay.
So if the cubes have about twice the size or 3 times the size of the little peas, then we're in a good shape. And then in the meantime, we can maybe just go through something that you asked me before about life as a diplomat.
Yes.
Because I think most diplomats will say they're on a fantastic journey. At least that's what I would say. I've been on a fantastic journey, which took me, as I said previously in the program, to the United States, Washington, D.C., to Brussels, where I worked at NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, security policy.
NATO, which is very popular these days.
These days, to some, I don't think Putin thinks it's that popular, but that's his problem. But to the rest of us, yes, we are very, very happy with NATO and our membership there. Then I spent 6 years as ambassador in Greece.
6 years.
6 years.
What's the usual tenure?
Usually
for
it's 4
ambassador?
years.
Okay.
But I think I told you that I lost my wife, and
Yes.
my ministry was very, very open to seeing what works for the family.
Okay.
And that worked for the family. On top of that, Greece was in an economic financial crisis at the time, which gave a lot of extra work and understanding of what was going on in Greece. So it was useful that I had that experience and could stay a little longer.
Okay.
After that, I went directly to Hungary for 4 years as ambassador. And then normal practice would say, get home.
Right. So after your tenure, then you go back
After
home for a
one or
while.
2 tours, you go back home. But in my case, I moved on to Australia, a 3rd posting in a row
Wow.
for 4 years
Wow.
as ambassador there. Also ambassador to New Zealand, fantastic place, as is Australia. And finally, from there, instead of going home again, I'm now here in Ghana, and I just started my 5th year, so I'm also prolonging here,
Yes.
which is good.
It is good.
Yeah,
But
exciting.
How have you managed just doing the back-to-back postings? Because I know apart from it being policy for many ministries of foreign, affairs of foreign ministries, policy to do your tenure, go back home,
Yeah.
restructure, refamiliarize, go out again. What has it been like for you? Because that would also serve as a breather to go back home.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You could
how
see
have you
for me,
managed?
for the person who's posted abroad, you need to sometimes go home
Yeah.
and get that breather, get that refamiliarization with your family, friends, which are hard to keep in touch with
Yeah.
when you're so far away, especially when you're in Australia, which is on the other side of the
I
world,
know.
or here. It's a, it's a 10 hours, 12 hours travel every time.
It's amazing.
It's not something you do every other weekend.
Yeah, right. Alrighty, so I mean, I'm chopping up the apples. How are we doing?
Yes,
Not too small,
I'm
not
bringing
too
you up to a sweat as well, and I think that's good because we've just been discussing. There was a moment where we discussed a little bit about how warm it is in here.
big. It is.
Ghanaian weather.
Ghanaian weather. You know, and I was thinking that until a couple of days ago, it was very cool.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, we're back to
we're
square one.
back to normal Ghana,
No.
or are we back to what climate change
That you
is
see, that's
actually doing
the
to
thing.
us?
That's the thing. That's the thing.
But anyway, no matter how warm it is now, I'm going to cook these
Okay.
patties, so it's very easy.
So we're using the same
I'm going
frying
to use
pan.
the same. It's
Okay.
so just wherever you want to put it.
Okay, where do
this
you
one
want
looks
it?
a little tired,
Okay,
so I think
put it
this
here.
one back here.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, and we don't need to clean it out or anything.
Nope, because we have the very nice taste of the onions there. It stays with us. It goes back together anyway, so these are good to mix.
Okay.
So that's good to go. And then we just need a little glass bowl at some point. I know we're going to get that.
Yes, we will.
To mix the apples with the peas. Then we
peas.
have that ready.
Okay.
And then
The
we're...
peas are cooked already.
Yes,
Okay.
they're good.
All right.
Actually, they're not.
You know,
But you don't need to cook peas.
we don't need to cook them.
Peas are actually better if the best is when you get them raw. That means they come in the little
The
little
pots.
houses and you take them out and you eat them fresh, right from the field. That's when they taste good.
Interesting.
These are as they are here in Ghana. They would be frozen. That's also what I buy usually in Denmark, unless it's
It's
seasoned.
easier because you
It's
don't.
easier, but take them frozen and then just when you're just cooking, take them frozen. Just pour some boiling water over it, let it seep through,
Okay.
and you have fresh peas.
Interesting.
If you boil peas for a long time, they become different. They become more mushy, not as fresh.
And
But
that's
again,
what you want.
for Ghanaians who like everything cooked to overcooked, then maybe it's not to your liking.
Yes,
that's
we
where we
like.
are.
We want to know that we've actually done the cooking
Yeah.
and done it right.
Here we go. 4
Okay.
patties.
The patties are going in.
Can I
There we
have
go.
this? Then we will put them on here. Very easy.
Okay. This is so simple.
It is, but it's supposed to be simple because when father comes home from work and has to do this, he doesn't have that much time, right?
No, he doesn't. And he's hungry.
He comes home at 6 and the kids are hungry and they need to eat at 6:30, right?
Yeah.
So what does that do?
You have only 30 minutes. You
Cook-
have to be
cook
quick.
fast.
You have
Yeah.
to be quick.
So that's what we're trying to do right now. Basically, cook fast. It actually takes a little longer because we're also chatting quite a lot.
Absolutely.
So that way we are maybe making it a little more difficult for ourselves.
Yeah.
Recently, when I came here in 20, not because I came, but maybe I should just do like this while I talk. No, everything's okay. They're doing good.
We're fine. We're
Yeah,
safe.
yeah. We're safe.
Do we want to put it back there or should
We,
still
no,
be
it's,
here?
it's,
Should still be here for now.
it's okay. We'll put it back here.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, we'll do like that.
Okay.
But we actually phased out our development, the traditional development aid. That was in line with Ghana reaching an economic point where they were a lower middle income country and Ghana's own policies of Ghana Beyond Aid.
Absolutely.
So we took that decision to withdraw from development aid, but stayed here and said we will gear up on others. Yeah, you can turn it down. That's fine. Very fine. And I think that's been in many ways successful. We've been able to attract a lot of Danish companies to Ghana that are interested in being here for the long run.
Yeah. As business and development partners, as opposed
you
to
can say, but in a different
Yeah.
way. You can,
Yeah.
in one way, you can say it's stronger because it's equal partnerships.
absolutely.
Both Ghanaian companies or Ghanaian government and Danish companies have to invest.
Definitely.
So both have something to lose
Definitely.
if it doesn't go right.
Definitely.
We wanted to approach the African continent in a different way. In a way where we are more in tune with what is the need and the wish of the Africans, of the Ghanaians. We've been meeting with cultural representatives, people you know, some of them, like Rocky Dawuni,
Right.
others like that.
Yeah.
So, now I'm just going to start because I just turned these to
Okay.
make sure that I don't overcook them.
Very necessary. They look
And
good though.
today we came out, or today, 3 weeks ago, we came out with this strategy, which will focus on a more, let's say, a better way for us to listen, to be more respectful and listen more to what are the actual needs. We may have had a tendency, to be quite honest, to preach a little too much, you know, come too hard in and say this is the conditions
Right.
with which we want to work with you. Now we're saying how can we work together? How can we form the best, the ideal if possible, but at least the best and most balanced approach where we have a mutual beneficial relationship
Right.
and outcome.
The patties smell good.
I hope so.
They do.
What
Okay.
I'm gonna do here is just,
So you have some cooking cream here.
I have cooking cream there. I hope that is the cooking cream.
It is.
We
It is the
we
cooking
switched
cream.
it, so now we're
It
doing the right
is.
thing.
This is the cooking cream. We're sure
Yeah,
of it.
we're sure of that. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that should be good.
So our juice from the onions
Yeah.
and the butter, you know.
The
it's
onions
all
and the
here.
butter there. I'll also take the sauce from the patties,
Okay.
go in, and then I'll beef it up a little
So
bit.
we don't
at the
waste any juice in this
No.
meal.
No.
Everything goes around.
end. Yes.
Okay.
So that's
How's
where we
our
are
salad
right now.
looking?
Yep. That is the way it should be, you know.
That's about it.
Just the spoon in, and then you got something fresh next to
love
the
it.
fat.
I love it.
Always have a balance between fresh and fat,
And fat.
between sour and sweet. That's one of the main ideas of cooking, as it is in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot have a relationship without a little bit of sour, a little bit of
a bit
sweet,
of this, a bit of that.
a little bit of fat, a little bit of fresh.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
So, is it boiling there? Yep. And this is stopping. So these are finished. So I will just turn that off. Is that like that? I'm not going to burn my fingers.
No.
I'm a little bit of a, I have soft fingers there. So where's the cooking cream? Here it is. And I need a spoon to,
Okay.
which one will I use?
Maybe this one?
Nah, this one's
This
probably
one?
better. Not a spoon, really. This one's probably better.
Okay.
Put in, I don't know, this is a lot, so I don't know how much I'll use. I put down at some point how much I should have, but maybe quarter of a liter. This is too much. This is half a liter, I think.
Yeah. So you just half of this.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it good?
Whoop, I think so.
Okay. And wipe the bowl off. So we want this sauce to be thick, right?
Yeah. But I will put
Should
this one
put
I
this-
could use.
Should I put this out in the fridge?
Yeah, I
for now?
think keep it
Yeah.
cool.
Since it's hot.
I hope. You never know.
I trusted you.
You trusted. I heard that in past tense. Whoop.
Now you're not so
Yeah.
sure, so I don't know if I should trust you anymore.
I heard you. Past tense. I trusted you. Is that how it works when you do these cooking shows? You start trusting, and then by the time you go through
It
the
depends. It depends.
show, it all ends up with a lack of trust.
No, no, I still trust you.
You still hope that you
I
can
still
trust
trust
me.
you. I still trust you.
Okay.
For now.
For now. Yeah. Just keep it just in case I
Okay.
need to put
All
more
right.
in, but I think it's
So
okay.
I'll just put it over here.
I think it's okay. So, as I said, this Africa strategy, oh, now we're getting in trouble here in the kitchen, is something that we're rolling out. It will take time. It will not only be here, it will be all of Africa. We hope that we can also find ways of keeping companies interested in coming to Ghana. The thing is, Ghana right now in its economic state finds it very difficult to attract new investors.
Right.
It is actually impossible for foreign investors to get loans to invest heavily in a country like Ghana while you're in this crisis. So we're also looking at ways, can we find ways that we can guarantee, give credits or something that will help this process in a difficult time? Because we need that. It's not only here.
So what we're saying is that there are companies or entities that would like to come and invest in Ghana at the moment, but they're struggling to get loans from investors or
Yeah.
creditors, whoever.
Yeah. Because of
they
the
are just
situation.
unsure about
Exactly.
our economic situation.
Exactly. I think that's the most sustainable solution is that it's private sector investing. Anything else will only be interim. For a time being, yes, it's necessary because you need to get to a point where it works. But there are opportunities. Ghana has a lot of resources.
A whole lot.
Ghana is a country with a lot of stuff in the ground, but also when you stick your finger in the ground, something grows. And
Very easily.
And if you use it right,
easily.
there's a lot of opportunities
Very easily.
in Ghana.
But Tom, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation.
Then
Our
I'll
sauce is
turn
pretty
this-
much done.
Yeah, it
right?
is
We've added
very close.
everything we need to add. So we're just going to take a break. When we come back, we'll show you the quick process of what the dessert looks like, and then we'll sit down and eat. But more importantly, we'll continue our conversation. So don't go anywhere. This is What's Cooking. We'll be right back. This is still What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. My name is Apioko, and His Excellency Tom Noring,
No,
I
you
did that
didn't.
intentionally,
Yes.
and I'll tell you why shortly, is still here with me. He's done most of the cooking. I've just, tried to help with chopping things here and there, but Tasty Tom is in the house, and he's really whipped up a tasty treat for us, or a series of tasty treats, right? And speaking of Tasty Tom, they're one of our sponsors here on What's Cooking. Ufakakra na ye bebre, Fortune Rice and Mopa, and Vital. You deserve a life of goodness. So, Your Excellency,
Yes, ma'am.
now it's time to eat.
I think that deserves fingers.
Yes.
And I actually like the killer well as spicy as possible.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Really, yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. I thought you'd
So-
do it with less spice.
Yeah, normally I'm a little worried about the too much spice, but here we go.
Thank
And
you.
then we'll get 1 spoon for
Okay.
this, I
Yes.
think.
Got that.
Then we're doing good.
Okay.
And you should have this.
Please.
Unfortunately,
Thank
I
you.
forgot you.
How could you forget me?
Because
I'm
I
sitting
thought
right-
I
I'm
was
sitting
just a
right next
kitchen
to you.
chef, so I should
Okay.
stay in the kitchen. I forgot I was now hosting here.
I'm glad you remembered
Madam.
at the right time.
A P for the
Thank
madam.
you. A P for the madam. Thank you.
So,
All right, so I'll eat. I mean, we have a little bit more of conversation to have.
Yes.
I mean, recently we had 5 Nordic ministers visiting
That's true.
Ghana.
Yes.
5 foreign ministers visiting
Exactly.
Ghana. How did that come about?
well, it actually came about after after Denmark and my foreign minister hosted a Nordic African foreign ministers meeting in May.
Okay.
A very successful meeting in Copenhagen, And after that, the ministers talked about why don't we make a joint trip somewhere in Africa? And they decided on Ghana.
Why Ghana?
So, well, why Ghana? That you'll have to call them and ask them. But that was a very, very good decision, I think. So they decided to come here in August. They were here in the middle of August, on the 13th and 14th of August, meeting with, naturally, your foreign minister,
Of course.
but also given and talked about the general, big issues. And bon appetit, by the way.
It's really good.
Velbekomme, we would say in Danish.
Let me get that.
Velbekomme. It's almost like you said velkommen.
So velbekomme.
Velbekomme. May it become you well.
Oh, may it become you. That's what it means.
May it become you well.
That's
So that was just a little interruption in the foreign policy discussion.
Yes.
So we met with your foreign minister, and then after that, they met with, of course, I was just accompanying. But then after that, we had a meeting with all the 3 security ministers, the Minister of Defense, Minister of National Security, and Minister of Interior, because only naturally there's a time to discuss, and this is the time, unfortunately, to discuss the security challenges for Ghana and neighboring countries, whether it comes from the sea or comes from up north.
Right.
But they also wanted to hear a little bit about what's going on in society. So we met for lunch with 7 different civil society organizations to discuss human rights issues, election issues, that sort of stuff.
Right.
Followed by an afternoon at the Design and Technical Institute with
Constance
Swaneke, who
Yes.
the name is Danish. So it goes back many years to her Danish forefathers. So we had a very, very good meeting there between the foreign ministers and a number of young, what you would call entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs. So we matched them up, so there was 5 of them, foreign ministers and 5 entrepreneurs.
Oh, so it's
And
like
then
one
I
to
think
each.
a guy that you might know at this station here, Bernard,
Bernard Avler.
was the moderator.
That's our general manager.
So he helped out moderating that session, and that was a fantastic session.
I can imagine.
Really, back and forth. And here comes somebody to interrupt us.
What's cooking? Hi.
In the middle of a good discussion, huh?
So this is my
Yeah,
neighbor.
very good discussion. A good one at.
I hope you
Testing
don't
what you
have. I
cook.
hope you don't have a neighbor like this, who shows up when there's food to eat.
There's something called good neighborly relations. Should we try it?
Is this one?
Thank you.
We can just try it and apply it. It's a notion.
So
It may not always work.
please,
but
please do not waste time. Just pass me the plate.
What?
of course. Sir.
Yes.
Here's the plate.
Thank you.
Potatoes,
Thank you.
But can you eat this? Like,
and here.
do you even know what it is?
This is from my hometown, home country.
Yes.
Was it your
It's
home
your
country?
home country
Yes.
400 years ago.
400 years ago. Yes.
So,
Since
beef,
you don't eat much, I will
I
eat.
haven't had a chance because I've been talking.
Okay.
But now you can talk and then I can eat.
Yeah, eat on my behalf.
Thank you very
Yes.
I
much.
can't
Please.
believe this guy.
Please. And
You work often with him?
what's this sauce made of?
This sauce is made from the cooking juices of the onions, of the beef patties. It also has cream, and it also has a little bit of soy, a little bit of Worcester sauce, a few other things that just came in there.
You
One-
mentioned beef pate.
beef patty.
Patty.
It's like a hamburger, the Danish version of a hamburger.
Okay. All right. And can I have some salad?
Yes, you can.
And this is to provide freshness. It's the simplest thing.
Thank you.
Simply apples and peas.
Something I can do.
You can do it. I think
But will you do it?
I can also do it.
Oh yes, when you visit me.
But I have to tell you, actually,
Yes.
it wasn't done by me,
Oh.
but by our hostess.
Oh really?
With great
Yes.
coaching.
Oh then it'll be easy.
With great coaching.
Let me
But
grab a
yes,
seat.
before we were rudely
you want a
interrupted.
seat?
Before we were
He's staying.
rudely interrupted.
Yes.
Yes. So I mean that sounds interesting. So the minister and they had a great time here in Ghana.
They had a great time. And it was really topped off by a dinner at my house where your president graced us with his presence.
Wonderful.
So we had a very small group, intimate dinner with the ministers, myself and a few colleagues, ambassadors from the other countries, and a very, very lively discussion. A president who was very happy to talk about a lot of the issues that are at hand at this particular time. After that, the next day, we had a bilateral visit with the Danish minister alone. We took him to NAVTRAC to see some of the things we're doing with the Ghana Navy, the Ghana Special Boat Squadron. And we also went to a cocoa farm to look at one of the biggest industries in Ghana, but also something that relates to what we're doing because we're sourcing a lot of cocoa to Denmark, to Danish
Right.
chocolate factories
Right.
or chocolate companies. So that was a very, very good visit and a very good appetizer, so to speak, because this came just a few days, 12 days exactly, before we launched the Africa strategy that we talked about before.
Brilliant, brilliant. But I mean, you've mentioned Bernard Avler, who yes is the general manager here. He's also the host of The Point of View here on Channel 1 TV. He also happens to be the host of the City Breakfast Show on City FM, our sister radio station. But he's a great journalist, and over here at Channel 1 TV and City FM, moving into elections, because we do have our general elections this year, we've launched something called hashtag City Verify, where we are looking at misinformation and disinformation and seeing how we can tackle that in our own way. So in an era of misinformation, disinformation, especially knowing that now news breaks online, it's not on radio, on TV. And the Danish embassy is sponsoring, a bit of that project, working with the CDD. What's your take on all of that, and what are some of the things that maybe we can learn from Denmark and how you've addressed some of these things?
Well, first of all, I think we are in a new era where we've been for some years, but it's really taking up or picking up, and that's social media and communication by social media, which is a huge challenge because we have no way of knowing who puts on what and why. There's no fact checking at all when it comes to social media. So you pick up, you read, you follow whatever you like. And that would be okay if it was just out there, people just having fun. But when it's TikTok and so on, and it becomes part of the regular information flow, it becomes dangerous because people do not know what to believe and not to believe. With the regular traditional media, at least there's a certain responsibility with the editors and chiefs,
Absolutely.
the political editors and others that need to ensure, and the journalists who are trained, that need to ensure that the news you put out there is not fake. Here you don't know. Likewise, I have to say, here I'm in a media context, but you have more than 800 radio stations in Ghana. They are not running like regular media houses or regular newspapers or TV stations or radio stations. There's no way of knowing what is spread of information there. So you have areas where information flows. You also have, and I will say it very openly, you also have a very, very religious society where everybody goes to church, and many, many churches. So also there you have a communication taking place every week from somebody that, depending on what denomination you are, you go there and you have a lot of trust in the priest, the minister, whatever, the imam. Again, there's a flow of information at a time where it's crucial that people make choices based on solid information. A year of elections. For us personally, there's an added worry, and that is that some countries are using misinformation as a serious tool. We've all heard it. Previous elections, they even talked about it 4 years ago here, where the Russians actually impacting with fake information, fake news. And we know they work that way. We know they're very, very good at it. Whether they did it 4 years ago, I can't say. But we know that the impact on Ghanaian media is so that if you want to say the footprint, the most common one is Chinese. It's understandable. They are a big business partner, so to speak, and corporation partner. But the second most large footprint is Russia. Indirectly, information that comes in and impacts. That's worrisome because it's not fact-checked. So I think there's a lot to be said about that, making sure that the information that reaches also the first-time voters, not least, many young people, new first-time voters, that they can base their decision where to put their cross on election day.
Especially since many of them live online.
They live online and they have to trust something. So it's important to have that understanding. We cannot eradicate it. And we also have to be mindful of not having a government that comes in and puts limitations on the right to expression.
Exactly.
Because that's a right we all have to express ourselves. So we cannot have that either. So that how do you ensure this balance of avoiding fake news, yet allowing everybody to come to the table with their views? So that it's a very important discussion, and that's why we engaged in that with the help of CDD and a number of different media and other organizations to have that discussion.
Right.
Also engaging, I have to say, young people, very important.
Directly as well.
And we're also trying through another program similarly to engage young people in this election year in putting especially the environment and climate on the agenda, because that's very important to have
as we've been
upfront
experiencing.
as we move into the election.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been such a joy to have you, and I wish you had more time because I have so many more questions for you, but I think you've touched on very important things, and I trusted you would. And you've also cooked us a very delicious meal, even though you still say you're not a chef.
I'm not a chef. I will,
And I
end of
know
my
you-
days, say that.
And I know you want me to call you Your Excellency, Your Excellency.
Not that either. But we have to have dessert.
Yes, we
That's
do.
What about
In the spirit of good neighborliness.
Thank you.
in the spirit
Thank
of
you.
good neighborliness?
You're lucky
Yes.
Thank
that
you.
that's Tasty
Thank you.
Tom says so.
I think, but we should have a spoon for that because it's not
Yes, we
quite
Yeah.
fluid enough to drink.
Here we
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Just a little bite.
Just a little bite.
Very quickly made, so that we also have some sweet at the end of the.
This is really
Lunch.
good. My kind of dessert. My kind of dessert.
And
This is actually from my home country.
it is.
Yeah.
You want us to talk about the fact that you have Danish ancestors, but we won't.
Don't. On another day.
We won't. So, he calls himself the Taster General, and he's going to
Yes.
grade your food. Is what he
Yes.
does. So what's the grade?
He scared me before when he told me.
Oh, he told
He said there might be a risk of
you were,
failing.
you
so
were
I've been
threatening
shaking
my
since then.
guest.
I'm not threatening him. But
He threatened my
in all
guest.
fairness, I have to be nice to him so that my visa application will be
It doesn't work that way. No way. We're very tough on that.
very
Follow the
tough.
rules and nothing but.
Yeah, so I need to be tough here.
Yes, you are welcome. I will live with the consequences, sir. Absolutely. That I have to. This is a clear message from me. We follow the rules.
I'm following the rules. It's nice, sumptuous, easy to make,
Yeah.
enjoyable. On top of it, there's sweet. What's it made of?
It is simply 3 ingredients. It's raspberries, well, 4 then. Raspberries with sugar, whipped cream, and on top of it, just a little bit of mint from the garden that I picked this morning,
Yes, that's
just to have some green.
it's nice. It's nice. So I'll put you up there so that when they Google, they know H.E. Tom Noreen knows how to cook.
What? You know what?
That's
Thank
not
you.
so bad.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the grading.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for the hard work you did as sous chef. I just have to say
My
the
pleasure.
fresh salad here is chopped to perfection
Thank you.
by the sous chef.
Yes, and of course, done with your coaching. Thank you so much for sharing this recipe, giving us something fun to try, and you know, for all the very, very important things that you've spoken about today. You know, you've also learned a bit about Danish culture, you know, the food culture, and food is always a great way to learn culture anyway, isn't it? Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
yeah, and I know you're going back to work.
Absolutely.
At least you have some food to carry along.
I've already had my food. I'll carry it in here. Thank you very, very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be here.
Thank you.
Thank
you. So, His
And thank you for the
Excellency
grade.
Tom Noring has proven himself in the kitchen. And yeah, we've nicknamed him Tasty Tom. So maybe Tasty Tom needs to take him a whole basket and we can use it to make some jollof and to go with the kilawele that you love so much at one point in time. So thank you to Tasty Tom. Ufakakra na ye bebre. Fortune rice and mopa and frito. You deserve a life of goodness. My name is Apioko. We'll see you next week.